Hi everyone, Janica and Anya, if you could request to join and then I can get you in and then we can do introductions. Hi Allison, hi Jess, thank you for joining. Hi Destined for Greatness, I love that name. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'll wait to see the request and then I'll get you in. After that. Hi Nikki.
Hey, hey.
Hi Anya, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm just trying to get Janica on. Hold on.
Awesome.
Hey,
Hey,
hey
hey.
y'all.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us this
Yes,
evening,
I'm
guys.
so excited. I'm so pumped.
I know how busy both of you guys are. So I'm just really privileged to have you on to
Yeah.
just chat about your journey being unmelanated. And, we just want to bring awareness to everybody. So this is my first installment of Tea Time with Miss T.
Yeah.
So thank you
Got
for
some
being
good.
my first guest.
Yes. Yay.
Am I saying your name correctly, Janica?
Uh, Janissa.
Janissa. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Janissa.
So I'm from Trinidad, so everything is pronounced the way it's spelled.
Look. It's okay. I have family who get my name mixed up, so it's totally okay.
Janissa Terrell. And again, we have Anya Dixon, who is a singer-songwriter, internationally known, by the way. Let me just put that in
Oh
there.
Yeah.
my goodness.
She's a minister and she's actually my business partner as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that you guys joined. Janice, I'm going to start with you. Would you
Okay.
tell everyone the reason you started No Melanin?
I started No Melanin basically to encourage and uplift other people who or like me who had albinism. Um, Initially, it just started out as just me advocating like locally where I was talking about albinism and my experiences with it. And then it somehow just grew to where we have it right now. But my main reason and my goal for it was to uplift and encourage and inspire other people with albinism, just like myself. So that's where it came from. And I got the name just in talking with God about it. He gave me the name out of what albinism really is just a lack of pigment. If you look up the definition, albinism is caused by little to no melanin being present in the hair, skin, and eyes of the affected individual. So God gave me the name, He gave me the start, and we have what we have today. So yeah.
That's amazing. So Anya was featured on one of your
Yes, she
online
was.
magazine covers.
Oh.
What made you reach out to her to get her on that cover? Apart from the obvious, but
Yeah.
what were you looking for?
I honestly, I cannot say. I really don't even know how I connected with her on social media. I can't remember it right now, but I just know when I came across her page, I saw that first of all, she's just insanely gorgeous. And then aside from that, she's like
You.
a woman that so many other women can look up to, whether or not you have albinism or not. She's a great role model. And I love what I saw on her page. And in our society, we don't, and I'm talking about as far as the albinism community, we don't really see a lot of us, being promoted and represented. So I wanted to promote women with albinism who were doing great things, and as someone that other young girls or young women could look up to, because when I was growing up, I had my other two sisters with albinism, but I didn't pick up magazines and read about other women with albinism on them. So Anya was just one of those who I would be like, okay, if I was a young girl, I would have wanted to see her in a magazine. I would have wanted to
Yeah.
read about her, be inspired by her. So that's what made me do it. And like you said, I mean, she's internationally known. She does it, my little magazine cover wasn't, it was just a little
Oh
speck
my goodness.
too. But I was just so blessed that she loved it because I was nervous. I was like, is she gonna like this? And then she liked it. So I was just honored. So thank you, Anya, for just,
Thank
loving it and being a part of it. It was super special.
And Anya,
you.
how was that for you, like being featured on No Melanin?
That was
What
so
did that
awesome.
mean for you? Yeah,
Right, that
yeah,
was my first magazine cover, so I was like, "Oh snap!" I'm on the magazine. Yeah, you don't
yeah.
know, but no,
Right.
I was definitely honored, and still am honored.
Oh,
That you even thought to do something like that, and that's kind of what I look to do, is to be that inspiration, to be
yeah.
that role model. Whether it's someone with albinism or not.
Right.
It's so many people that do have albinism that don't have anybody to look up to.
That's
No.
true.
And you're finding it more and more now. Like for me, I don't know how it was for you, but for me growing up, it was just like I was the only one until I
Mm-hmm.
got to maybe middle school, and everybody was like, "Do you have a sister that
Mm-hmm.
goes to Keenan?" And I'm like, "No, I'm an only child. Other than I have a brother, but no, I don't have a sister." And come to
Yeah.
find out, it was another girl that was at the
Wow.
high school, and that also was in orchestra, and they thought that
Wow.
I was her sister, and I ended up meeting her brother while I was
Wow.
in middle school, who also has albinism. So that was like the only
Yeah.
connection I had to it, and I mean, it
Yeah.
still wasn't like anybody I could look up to.
Right.
So now I'm
Right.
learning of more and more people. One of my piano students now, young girl, she has albinism. So
Wow. Okay.
like, yeah, and I've been her with since
That's
she was 2, and she's 12 now.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
That's cool.
This
yeah.
might sound quite ignorant to a lot of people. Maybe I grew up with some level of ignorance of what albinism was, but I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea it existed until 2005. So I
Wow.
was I was 25. So
Wow.
growing up in Trinidad, I didn't see that.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying there aren't people, with
Right.
albinism in Trinidad, but I didn't see it. So
Right.
when I came over here, um, I saw people with albinism, but I just thought they were mixed race,
Yeah.
Mm,
right? So I didn't realize it was a thing.
Yeah.
Do you
mm.
understand? And then I think somebody brought it to the forefront for me, and I was like, that is so dope. Like,
Yeah.
like, you
It
know what
is.
I mean? I was like, wait, you telling me that these girls are
Uh-huh.
you're Caribbean with someone said they're Caribbean with albinism. I'm
Oh wow.
sure there is, but I was just oblivious to it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I just thought they were mixed race. And if
Yeah.
anybody know anything about Trinidad, our country's very interracial.
Okay.
So I would have families with fully dark skinned people and one
Mhm.
person comes out white because it's so mixed and
Okay.
comes out. So I was just oblivious to
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I remember that I always admire your hair,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
I was like, this is a mixed race girl with blonde hair. Like, this is
Right.
so dope.
Right.
Like, right? So that was my reaction to it. And then when they told me what it was, I was still like, yo, that's like mad
Right.
dope. Like,
Right.
like, I thought it was awesome. And
Yes.
then I heard all the stigmas and everything that came into it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I felt like they were ruining something that was
Yeah.
meant for
Yeah.
greatness. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like I felt really hurt like
Yeah.
when people started telling me stuff, and they did that with people who they call over here ginger
Mm-hmm.
redheads. I think you guys call them redheads in America.
Mm-hmm.
And just things that I find are extremely extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I have a problem when people try to destroy my image.
Right. Like
Right.
it.
Yeah, my perception of things. So what was it like for you, Janissa, in that situation growing up?
uh,
Like, what were some of your experiences?
Not really good. When I was younger, it was okay, because when you're a little kid, you're not really paying attention to a lot of things. So you notice that people will stare at you, and you notice that people will say things, but at the same time, you're a little kid, you're having fun. So you're just
Yeah.
it's whatever. So I didn't really start beginning to have it affect me until I started getting into my preteen age range. That's when it started for me. And like I said, I'm there. Three of us in my family, in my immediate family, amongst my siblings and I, who have albinism. So there are three who don't, and then there are three who do. And I'm the last one out of my sisters who has albinism. So once I got older, and we were homeschooled too, by the way, so we didn't go to public school or anything. And sometimes when I tell people that, they're like, oh, well, how did you experience being bullied, or how did you experience the stigma when you didn't attend like
Public
K
school.
12, didn't go through grade school,
Mm.
but we did extracurricular activities. We were always around other people. We were homeschooled, but so and even going into the grocery store, I mean, you would get stares, you would get comments. Um, we had people calling us all kinds of names. We heard all kinds of things. I remember seeing my mom being questioned about us, and why we looked the way that we did, or why our eyes would cross. And I had really bad strabismus when I was younger. So
Right.
why my eyes would cross, or why they would shake so much, or why I was so pale, or why my color wasn't the same as others in my family, or why even with glasses on, I still had to squint or sit like really close if I'm reading a book, holding the
Yeah.
book like this to my face. And it affected me very, very greatly, but not in a good sense, more in a negative sense. And I suffered with low self-esteem greatly as a teenager. Those were like not really fun years for me, because I compared myself to everyone. I wanted that beautiful brown skin that you have, Teresa. Like, I wanted it so bad. Like, I would
Yeah.
pray God to make me darker. I would try to sit out in the sun and tan my skin so that I would be darker, because kids picked on me. They picked on me. They talked about me, most times to my face. So, I felt like the only way I could fit in or be the same as everyone else is if I had what everyone else had. And so for
Right.
me, being around my African American community more, we are melanated. So if you don't have it, it's kind of like, well, you stick out like a sore thumb. And
Right.
especially because I was an albino, or a person with albinism. So it was as though something was wrong with me. Like, I wasn't born the right way. Like, I was an accident. That's the way I felt.
Okay.
I felt like, what did I do so bad that I had to be born with such a
This
disadvantage?
way.
You know,
Right.
like,
Right.
I thought very low of myself, like very, very
Mhm.
low. So those things affected me. Hearing those things, hearing words, having the comments, having the stares, having people walk up to us and say, "Oh, I thought you were adopted." Like, to you it might be a joke, but to me and my sisters, like, why would you walk up to someone and say that?
And
Like,
say that.
like the ultimate offense. And especially I'm not a mother, but to my mother, she gave birth to us. So you walk up to her and say, well, you didn't have them. Like, they came from somewhere else. Those things just really, I internalized them. So it was, teen years were difficult for me. I
Mm.
didn't start really owning myself and coming into myself until my 20s, early
Mm.
20s. It took me a minute, because when you deal with low self-esteem and that mental battle that goes there, it's a
Yeah.
process coming out of that.
Yeah.
It really is. And, with God, all things are possible. But that process, it takes some time. So, yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
Yeah. And Anya, what about you? Was it pretty much the same?
It was. And I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing was, well, kind of like that. I was in public school, I was in grade school,
Hmm.
and I was like from pre-K all the way up until high school. I attended all black school. So, excuse me. So, being the only person with albinism, first of all, being the lightest skinned person in there was bad enough. But then being the only person, light skinned girl with blonde hair, that has to
Yeah.
sit up in front of the class because she
Yeah.
can't see, and the teacher has to give her special word that's not up
Yeah.
on the board. And back then it wasn't smart boards and all of that. It was good old
Yeah.
fashioned chalkboard and the little projector screen thing. So that kind of really made me a little kind of iffy about my own self esteem. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, when I was little, it didn't really faze me that much. But then as I got older, it was like, wait a minute, I'm the
Yeah.
only one up here at the front of the class, and like folks looking at
Hmm.
me like, what's
Hmm.
wrong?
Right.
But I was fortunate and I was blessed enough to have an amazing group of friends,
Yeah.
that really never made me kind of feel left out or anything. And even my parents, they never isolated me.
Yeah.
I was always
Yeah.
involved in everything. I was always on the orchestra, the chorus, the band.
Mm-hmm.
I was in everything. So it wasn't like, I was just sitting in the corner, not doing anything,
Hmm.
staying at
Yeah.
home. No, baby, put me out there. I was fine.
Yeah.
I got the stares. My parents grew up, well, as I was growing up, we would be in the mall and people like, oh, can I touch your hair? And blah, blah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like, no. And I ended up having, I think what got me was the vision part. So now I'm
Mm.
getting to my latter year of high school, going into college, kind of transition, late high school, driver's license type age.
Yeah.
Everybody is driving and I'm not.
Hmm.
Right.
So, and I think Teresa, I had told you about that before, with me and my cousin.
Yeah.
She had her little car, her little red drop top convertible sports car. She wanted to go out, and her mom was like, "No, you're not going out. It's late. You're not going anywhere." And she threw a fit at the fact that she had her car and she couldn't go anywhere. And that was the first time. I was probably about 19, 18, 19. That was the
Hmm.
first time that night when I got home, I ran in my parents' room and just fell across their bed, just crying hysterically. That was the
Yeah.
first time
Right.
I broke down and
Yeah.
released how I felt about myself. Like I hated myself.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that I couldn't, that my vision wasn't, the way everybody
Yeah.
else's was, looked the way everybody
Yeah.
else did.
Hmm.
I felt like I was being isolated. I couldn't get the boyfriends that everybody was getting, because either
Right.
they wanted to be with me because of a bet or,
Hmm.
or,
Yeah.
or they just didn't want to be with me at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Wow.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happened.
No,
So,
you right. Yeah. You're right on that.
but I that whole adopted situation, this is in my older years. I was in the
Hmm.
airport. I was getting ready to board the plane, and a lady, white lady, came up to me and was asking if I was mixed. I'm like,
Hmm.
no. And she was like touching my hair, and I'm like, no. you know, Space, please. Back up.
Right.
Okay. First of all, I'm on the phone and you're being rude.
Per-
And she was just asking me about, my family history. And she was like, are you adopted? And I'm like, no, I am fully black.
Yeah.
I am with my mother and my father, who are both
Yeah.
fully black.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
she had the nerve to say, well, maybe you need to check your family history. Honey, I was so glad that it was time to board that plane because I was this close to not being able to board a
Are you
plane.
kidding? Listen.
She was going to
Listen.
see just how black I was.
Oh my gosh.
Do
Wow.
you know it
Yeah.
really, up to this day, it shocks me what people are so comfortable to let out of their mouths.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
No
It's one
filter.
thing to think it, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's no filter or any tact at all,
None.
Yeah.
or any sensitivity to people's
Zero.
feelings anymore.
Right.
Zero. Doesn't matter.
Do you
Doesn't
know
matter.
what
I
I mean?
called that
You
out.
know, that's crazy. That's
It is.
crazy. That's sad to hear. And
It
it's
is.
if I'm listening to both of your stories, and it starts similar. In my
Yeah.
younger years, I didn't really. It wasn't a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that just
Yeah.
goes to show how division and the nasty parts of people thinking are taught.
Yes.
Because children in their younger years are just happy, they're just having fun. They don't
That's
see color, they don't see anything. If you're
Right.
nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you.
right.
That's pretty much what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
then as we get older, these things are taught to us, and then we become aware of it. I mean, I'm saying to you, at the age of 25, that's the first I've ever heard of albinism,
Yeah.
because that's how I was brought up, and I kind of thank my parents for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, even when I found out what it was, I would never put God out of my thought to walk up to somebody with albinism and say,
Yeah.
yo, Is
Yeah.
this what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Why
So
can't one
it really
be like you, Teresa? Why?
it really shocks me all the time. Because I deal with colorism even within my own
Yeah.
community.
Mm.
I deal with racism when I travel.
Yeah.
So I feel obviously it's not the same thing, but I get where you're coming
Yeah.
from because the things that come out of people's
Yeah.
mouth is just absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking. So I'm very like I'm so sorry you guys had to go through that.
I'm
Obviously,
not.
you're grown now. Is there a part of you
Mhm.
that still deal with those insecurity? I mean, may not be at that level when you were a teenager or at that point of breakdown, but even in your adult years, do you feel that that's carried through? Any one of you can go.
I know for me, it depends, honestly. If I'm being honest, it depends. Because when you have lived with that type of mindset for so long, and like I said, that was me during my teen years, sometimes it's like, and spiritually speaking, the enemy will want to remind you to try to pull you
Right.
back to that headspace, and you have to reject that because
Mm,
it happens, and it's not all the time. As you said, it's not as intense as it was when I was younger, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have moments where I still struggled with understanding myself or speaking into myself, because it just happens, and it's every day is a journey, and
yeah.
it may not be every week or every month, but there are times when I have felt like, man, can I really do this? Or I've become frustrated because especially like what Anya was saying, visually, if it's something that I can't see and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, getting frustrated. So I have those moments, but just as quickly as they come, um, they go away just as fast. And again, it happens, human, it
Yeah.
happens. But at the
Yeah.
same time, just as I go and as I grow more with myself and as well as with God, these things become a lot easier. So yeah.
Anya, do you think that faith has a lot to do with where you're at now and how you overcome
Come on,
or
overcome.
overcame that teenage insecurity, even if you're still dealing with some of it now? Do you think that your faith has a lot to do with that, or is it a combination of different things?
Faith has everything to do with it.
Hmm.
I believe faith really has everything to do with it. Um, because it's what allowed me, and it's what made me realize that I've overcome.
Hmm.
Mm,
Growing spiritually. I've always known about God. I've always grew up in the church, but knowing that God, learn to know that God created me the way I am, made me
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't an accident.
No.
Right.
I was born this way on purpose,
Yes.
Yes.
and
For a
being
purpose.
this way,
Yeah.
not only was I created on purpose and created for a reason, but I'm learning my purpose and learning my
Yes.
reason of
Yes.
being to encourage and inspire other people and also minister
Mhm.
to other people. And I'm not going to preach today because I feel like preaching coming on. I
Come
feel
on.
like,
Come
ooh,
on.
I'm a
Come on.
Sunday. Catch me Sunday. But, but it's allowed me through my music, like Overcomer. Like people
Yes.
ask me
Wow.
about that song, and it's like, where did Overcomer come from? A lot of people overcome, cancer and,
Hmm.
accidents,
Hmm.
traumatic experience. I
Hmm.
overcome daily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day I
That
wake up, I overcome. Every day I
that
wake up, I'm a person with every day I wake up, I'm a person that's visually impaired, legally blind.
yes.
Every day I wake up, I'm not able to do some of the same things that everybody
Yeah.
else is going to be. Every day
Yeah.
I wake up, I look different than everybody else.
Every
Mm,
time.
So I overcome daily. And if I don't have the strength of God in me, yeah.
Listen.
Now, don't get
Li-
me wrong. I love Jesus and my therapist because
yeah.
I'm just, you know, but yeah, faith has everything to it. It
Yeah.
has really helped me in my personal growth, not just
Yeah.
spiritual growth, but being able to be comfortable in the skin that I'm in and embrace
Yes.
it. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
have.
let me just remind everybody, and this is for everybody, not just if you have albinism. I want you to remember, if you're struggling with self-esteem and you're struggling with things where people mock your appearance, I want you to know that the Bible says you are fearfully
And
Yes.
and
wonderful.
wonderfully made.
That's it.
Yes.
Each and every one of us is made in the likeness of God. Whether you believe in him or not, that's a fact, right? And
Okay.
people differences is a good thing because God said his people are what? We are a peculiar
Girl,
people for a purpose.
Amen.
So
that's it.
here, I don't want to look like everybody, and I shouldn't. I don't want to
Yeah.
act like everybody, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't. Do you
Yes.
understand? So, as far
Yeah.
as the topic today was the gift of albinism, and as far as I'm concerned, you guys have a gift.
Yeah.
Do
Yes.
you understand? It was a gift from God given to you for a purpose. I would not be able to do, I know in myself that I would not be able to do what you guys are doing and dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I tell you guys, this is a gift.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's a purpose behind this, and I think you guys are fulfilling that purpose in bringing awareness
Thank
to
God.
the people that you come in contact with. And now we have social media, so you can do that on a broader scale. Do you
Yeah.
understand? And for little
Yeah.
girls who are like you coming up, you're right, for them to have an image, a role model to look
Mm-hmm.
up to and realize that they can do
Yeah.
just as much or even better than everybody
Yeah.
else. Do you
Yeah.
Anything.
understand? So I want to thank you guys for doing that. Is there anything you would like to see change, Janissa, within the world as a whole when it comes to albinism?
Uh, the mindset that people have about it. Here in America, I, other countries is tough there too, specifically in Africa. But you would think in America it would be a lot easier simply because we're so advanced in so many ways.
Right.
With those advancements, it seems like this is one of the departments that just has not received any updates. So we we as the advocates, we really have to work hard to make sure that we do it, which is why um I try to focus most of my time on trying to make sure that we understand how important it is to walk out with that confidence. Because if you expect to walk out your door and see everybody rallying for you and clapping for you because of your condition, then you're going to be let down because everybody's not going to do that. You might have
No.
some, but everyone is not going to be willing to do that for you. And
Right.
it's a sad truth,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. So that would be my hope, is that we see more of a mindset change on that. Because when you look at other conditions and diseases, genetic conditions, sometimes I feel as though there's a little bit more of an acceptance there for those,
Yeah.
but it's like we choose which ones we're going to be behind.
Right.
Ones that we don't want to be behind, we don't give them any
Right.
FaceTime. So my hope is that we just do it one and the same as with others, just have an openness and a readiness to understand. And so yeah, that's what my hope is.
And Anya, what message would you like to give to everybody?
You are.
Yeah.
We are our own individual selves,
Mm-hmm.
whether you have autism, whether you have whatever it is that you have, whether you don't have anything at all. And I often tell people, if you turn the lights off, we all the same.
Yes.
I'm no different. I may look a little bit different, but like I said again, turn the lights off, we all look the same.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about embracing who you are,
Yeah.
Yes.
no matter what you look like. If everybody in the world was visually impaired,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
it would
Exactly.
difference.
Yes.
True. It's
So
absolutely true.
ah,
That
like
is so amazing. I love that. If everybody in the world was visually impaired, do you think the world would be better? I feel like it would,
it would.
because
Yeah.
nobody would care.
No,
Nobody,
because then they would know what we go through every single day, every single second, every minute, every hour, they would.
I feel
Like
like
I'm
with
sitting
4
here looking at
steps
the
to actually get to know the
Right,
person.
right,
Right.
I'm trying
right.
to look at the comments like I can't see.
Yeah, like
Hey
it's either
y'all.
I'm listening or I'm just really close trying to read. So I'm like, okay, but
Right.
yeah, even now it's so
Yeah.
much to it. But like Anya said, I wouldn't change it for the world. I look back sometimes and I think about how I was back then. You wouldn't have been able to tell me when I was 14 years old that I would have become an advocate for albinism. There is no way you would have been able to convince me of that because I hated myself just that much. Like,
Right.
literally, like I would go to bed crying, asking God to straighten out my eyes, give me better vision. I mean, just this whole
Right.
laundry list of things. So you wouldn't have been able to convince me that however many years later, look, I've lost track between time, but 14 to the age I am now, you wouldn't have
Right.
been able to convince me that I would be where I am today doing
Yeah.
this. And it took God, like Anya was saying, it took faith, and it took family, like what she was saying, amazing parents, amazing siblings. It took all of that, because without God, literally, I know, like, I wouldn't have the confidence that I have right now. Like,
Yeah.
this is all God made. It's not self-made.
Yeah.
It's not that
Oh,
a gave me. This is all 100% what God gave me. Because had it not been for Him, as the song says, if it had not been for Jesus, where would I be? Like, I would be
Right.
so lost. So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me this evening. And I just want to say thank you again for everything you guys are doing for standing up for people with albinism and just really helping others understand that you are a person too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not it's really not that deep.
It's
Like,
not.
right,
It's not.
right.
It's,
Gee whiz.
do you understand?
it's
At
not.
least that's my view of it anyway. As I said before, I just thought you guys were mixed race. Like, yo, I
We're
was like, this is so dope. Like,
Oh my God.
but yeah, I thank God that I know better now, but it doesn't make a difference in the way that I think about someone
No.
else. Like, Anya's my girl. Like, she's my sister from another mister. You understand?
I
So
understand. I understand.
So I really don't care. And I wish the rest of the world would just get off it. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give you guys the same opportunities as everybody else
Yeah.
and realize that you guys have a power as well, just
Yeah.
like everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to encourage you guys and keep going. Thank you again so much for joining me this evening.
No
thank
problem
God bless you.
here.
and this was actually off because I think when is it, Janisa? June
Uh,
12th
yes,
is
June
out.
12th.
Oh,
We have another.
okay.
Hmm.
So International
You have a
Albinism.
what? Sorry?
June the 12th is Albinism Awareness Day. International Albinism Awareness Day. So this is a
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
wear your yellow. All of you, wear your
I
yellow.
will wear yellow that day. I will
Yes.
wear yellow. I will take my photos and I'm tagging you guys.
Tag, tag.
awesome.
I'm
Yes.
tagging you guys. Okay, thank you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. God bless
Oh,
you.
bye,
Y'all too.
y'all.
Bye.